So last night, AEW presented its World's End pay-per-view, and the one thing that a lot of people got attracted to it, in an attendance perspective, almost sellout, as well as watching on Bleacher Report and pay-per-view PLE, is who was going to be revealed as the devil, the guy that's been pulling the strings behind MJF's back, and who was associated with said devil. Well, even though predictably it turned out to be who we all thought it would be, because all the signs over the past 3 to 4 months were pointing in this direction, surprisingly, a lot of fans were not happy. Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of fans were not happy, and those that knew this was the most logical direction to go in, were asking the question of, why are you unhappy? This is the only sensible direction they could go in. This makes all the sense storyline-wise. And I read a lot of these answers, and people basically said it's because they can't buy Adam Cole as a main event guy. They can't buy him as a viable threat. They can't buy him as being a leader of a group like this. Because I think some of them, this is my opinion, I think some of them just look at it as a more modern day AEW version of the Ring of Honor stable, The Kingdom. That's what they see. Because remember, Adam Cole was part of The Kingdom at one point. So this is more of an extension of it. The only difference is you added on new members in Roderick Strong and Warlord. And a lot of people basically feel that how can you take a group like this that consists of 2 guys or 3 guys that pretty much were treated like a comedy act, or pretended to be a comedy act, how can you now take them seriously? How can you take a guy like Wardlow seriously? How can you do all that? It doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't make sense, even though they know logically from a storyline perspective it does. It does. The other thing, too, that I think kind of disappoints them about it is how are you going to make this work? How are you going to make this work if the 2 guys that are needed for this story opposing each other are injured? How are you going to make that work if they're not there? Well, MJF apparently has some influence in his creative and could decide whether or not he wants to go away. Now, he could stick around if he contractually is still aligned with the AEW, depending on what you believe. He could stick around and basically pay them back. And we all know that's coming. How they make that happen is totally up to them. But a lot of fans look at the fact that if he's going away because of injury up till Revolution or Double or Nothing at the latest, and Adam Cole's not cleared yet, how are you going to make this group threatening? Yeah, you got a powerhouse in Wardlow who just goes out there and destroys people, but how are you going to make it work outside of him? There are some that will look at the Kingdom of Matt Taven and Mike Bennett and be like, they're no threats, they're jokes. They'll look at someone like Roderick Strong and be like, yeah, he's a great in-ring talent, but recently he's been nothing more than a comedy act. He's been acting nothing more than like a nerd. How are we supposed to take him seriously? You see, all these questions, justifiably so, are going to be brought up. And look, I've said, everybody has a right to their opinion. And there's no doubt that they do have a right to their opinion. But I think, again, what they're missing out on, and I do agree on this, is who else were you hoping it was going to be? And I think the other main reason people were disappointed was because of the fact, and this is my opinion, was because of the fact that when you look at what's going on in wrestling lately, you have all these other people and all these other companies that are creatively trying their best to keep things a secret. Basically surprise people when they least expect it. You look at what Triple H is doing in WWE, possibly right now with the whole Mercedes-Sasha deal. You take a look at what Scott D'Amore is doing with Impact Wrestling, TNA, and so on. And people are getting more used to that. Like, yeah, they enjoy getting spoiled. They enjoy getting the leaks, put out to them of this person's coming, that person's coming, da da da. They enjoy all that. But I think, what's really happening is they're now becoming accustomed to what, these other people are doing with these companies. And they were hoping maybe, Tony Khan and AEW would do something similar. Because to them, even though they knew it would be this, even though they knew the predictable route would be the route they go, they were probably hoping that, yeah, we know you're going to go that route, but wouldn't it be better if you surprised us and the person that's revealed is maybe a, debuting Nick Namath, Dolph Ziggler, or so-and-so here and there, or somebody that we're not expecting, like a Jack Perry, or Kenny Omega, or maybe the Young Bucks, It's like, okay, fine. We understand that, maybe going in that route may have thrown people off. Like, oh, we know it's going to be Adam Cole. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, it's not Adam Cole. It's this person. Yeah, it'd get people talking and wondering, like, okay, why? Do we get a motivation? We'll have to tune into Dynamite. We'll have to tune into, Collision and Rampage to, get an answer. But, despite probably feeling that way, the other reason, like I said, is some people don't buy this. Overall, they don't buy this group as a threat. In fact, I guarantee you, like I said, people look at them as an extension. I think I said this, unless I did it in another take on this. I've been doing this multiple times, this recording, without, constantly getting interrupted, so I do apologize. But anyway, there are some that look at them, as I mentioned, as just a more modern-day version of the Kingdom, from Ring of Honor. Where now, instead of just Adam Cole, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and by association, Britt Baker, possibly, and Maria Kanellis, or Maria Bennett, now you add in Roderick Strong and Wardlow. It's like, okay, how are we considering a more expanded version of the Kingdom a threat? How is that possible, right? But also, I think some fans look at them and they look at nothing more than, a group that might be taken seriously at first, but over time is going to get turned into a joke. That's going to get turned into the next Aces and Eights. Aces and Eights from TNA, led by Bully Ray. There were some that liked it, saw the potential and everything, but also felt like it was the worst thing they could come up with. The revelation that Bully was the leader and everything was surprising, there's no doubt. The same way here with Adam Cole. But the difference though, we got to give credit to Aces and Eights here in TNA for, is nobody knew Bully Ray was the leader. Nobody knew he was, running the show. Nobody. He was as convinced as everybody else. Nobody knew. Here, I think the disappointment is the fact that they knew. And that's why they wanted maybe something different. I think it's also for the fact that not only do they see potentially this group going downhill in the future, but they also see this group being comparable not just to Aces and Eights and how they went downhill from their prominence, at first, but they also look at them as being like a retribution. Like, oh yeah, we're supposed to take them, as a threat, take them seriously as a threat, but they go down here. They become a joke. So, again, I don't blame anybody for having a difference of opinion here. I don't blame people for feeling like this is not the best way to go. They could have done it differently. But again, what they failed to realize is storyline-wise and logic-wise, storyline-wise from a logic perspective, predictable or not, this was the only direction to go in. I mean, think about how MJF is going to be able to come back, and have his revenge or get his revenge against Adam Cole, and basically call out Adam Cole as being nothing more than a crybaby, than a sore loser that just can't accept the fact that there are certain talents, certain people he cannot beat. So, again, just imagine the promos and how much people, they look at MJF as a generational talent. How much from a promo perspective, he's going to destroy Adam Cole. He's going to destroy this, this new faction and everything that he's leading. And Heck, Samoa Joe, yeah, Samoa Joe's the new AEW World Champion. Do you think honestly he's happy with the idea of, wait a minute, Adam Cole was the guy I was dealing with? They could play it off like, wait a minute, yeah, I did business with you, but I didn't know it was you. He could be instead of like, hey, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to become champion, but I didn't expect it was going to be you I was dealing with. And you could have him go in a feud with them. And he's got promo skills that could destroy Adam Cole, in the eyes of a lot of fans. You see, they don't see the possible extensions and goal at the end of the day of where this is heading. They don't see it. I mean, again, this group, this direction, this decision was the best decision to go in. And it's like I've said before, if they didn't go this route, with the Revelation, as a jumping off point for them to go into 2024, then, what else are they going to do? How else are they going to, continue presenting this and, throw out the hints and everything? I'm just saying. But yeah, surprisingly, not a lot of people were happy. Again, it's very understandable why. Very understandable. But what they have to understand at the end of the day, that logically, predictable or not, it was the best direction to go in. End of discussion. So, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I mean, I get it. Not a lot of fans, like the Revelation. I understand that. I get it. Maybe twisting it, going in another direction with somebody different might have helped. But again, why? Why pivot away from what is going to possibly be one of your biggest storylines at the beginning of the year to get people to possibly tune in and watch your product, to attend and sell out arenas and venues you have your product in? What would be the most logical, or what else would have been the more logical, direction? That's the question people have to ask themselves. Like, what would have been the most logical direction? Go, choose someone different that nobody would see coming? Or go the predictable route and just build off from there and see how that helps in 2024. To me, you go with the latter. You go with the most even though the most predictable, it's the most logical because you could do more. And you got somebody in the form of a Maxwell J. Freeman Maxwell J. Freeman, that will basically, from a promos perspective, if you're a fan of the promos in wrestling, go there and absolutely destroy the entire group. Now, what's crazy is we could get a revelation by MJF on Wednesday that he knew the whole time it was Adam, and that he knew maybe this was going to be the direction they go in, but he just wanted to wait until Adam would play his card because he had a plan from the get-go. Like maybe they play it out that way. Like MJF, can credit Adam Cole for, tricking him and lying to him and, and all that. But then, you start seeing that MJF that people say lost his edge and everything, starts smugging up and smiling. And by doing so, you get this worried look on Adam's face and maybe the group's face, Adam's group's face, and be like, well, what are you laughing about? What are you so smug about? And then you can have Max basically say, yeah, you did all that, but that's what I wanted you to do because I don't go anywhere without a plan of my own. And then maybe you have him bring out a group of people that pretty much have had issues with Adam Cole and his devil henchmen and have paid a price and all that. And there you go. There you go. So we might get that. That might be something to where basically at the end of the day, Max still gets, one up on Adam, and Adam realizes, maybe my plan didn't work, and now I got to come up with something different. Because we all know it's leading to a match at Revolution. What kind of match that's going to be, we don't know. But the point I'm getting at is, despite what we get post World's End and on Dynamite this Wednesday, I will say this. This was the only way they can go, and it's the best jumping off point from 2023 to 2024 that they could utilize storyline wise. How Samoa Joe fits into it, we don't know. People are saying that Joe's going to be a transitional champion. Maybe he'll only have it for maybe a few months. I'm not really sure about that because apparently, Tony Khan likes to give certain people long reigns, and if he's a fan of Ring of Honor and he knows about Samoa Joe's historical reign there as champion, we might get something similar, but we'll have to see. But again, let me know what your thoughts are, guys. How did you feel about the revelation and everything at World's End? How did you feel about it? Where do you think they go from here with it? Do you think maybe we'll get, a twist maybe on Dynamite where Max reveals he was in on it the whole time and it gave, to where he had a plan of his own to combat, Adams? Let me know. Let me know down below in the comments as well in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, and until next time, guys, I am out.